Welcome back to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but first, let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Huddle for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. At Huddle, we power sports. Over 200,000 teams use Huddle to elevate the performance of their teams using video and analytics. Huddle is a complete performance platform. They've got online tools, they've got smart cameras, they've always had analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle is also built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high school and college programs. And even the pros use Huddle to help their athletes perform at the highest level. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including the coaches of the college teams you're trying to get to recruit your kids. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and your program and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Hometown helps thousands of schools and organizations across the country seamlessly provide convenient digital ticketing options for their communities, their families, and their fans. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to sell your tickets, how to scan the attendees that come to your games, also how to collect your revenue, and every step of the way, you're going to have a dedicated client success manager that's working just with your school to make it all happen. Hometown Ticketing can also sell tickets to other types of events, including band performances, choir presentations, plays, dances, even graduation. So go to hometownticketing.com and start selling your tickets using Hometown Ticketing. That's hometownticketing.com. Simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the leader in forms and registration, but there's so much more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with reminders for parents about policies and physicals and all the forms that come with athletics. Final Forms can also help your coaches with eligibility, with attendance, communication. And for ADs, Final Forms can help with rosters, all the reports that come across your desk, and also help with certification management for your coaches. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and find out what Final Forms can do for you, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors and coaches are creating world-class content for their school's social media channels. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so simple, even I can do it. They're running a great promotion right now, so go to Gipper.com, tell them you heard about it on the podcast, and you can start creating world-class content for your school's social media channels. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thank you to SnapRaise. Go to snapraise.com and find out how their fundraising platform can help you. Better fundraising makes better programs, and you can get away from the fundraising headaches of the past. There's no upfront cost, your data is secure, and what's more important, SnapRaise works. Check out the testimonials and see the thousands and thousands of dollars that SnapRaise has helped other schools raise over the years, including ours. Our coaches use SnapRaise, and it was just fantastic. It was so easy to use. I knew about it, but I wasn't involved with it as an AD, so that made it even better. Go to snapraise.com and change your fundraising game plan and start a fundraiser that works for you. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic surveys are quick, easy, and affordable ways for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. We used surveys for years at our school, and they were just fantastic. They'd almost always come back positive, but they'd also give that squeaky wheel parent a chance to vent, and many times reveal a small issue that I could address and keep it from turning into a big issue because I didn't know about it because I hadn't done a survey. Go to athleticsurveys.com or shoot them an email at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only raise money for your department, but also generate the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Find out exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. And we want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen video consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Let them help you bring your school's legacy to life. Hey, welcome everyone to a special edition of the Educational AD Podcast. We've got a really cool guest today, Jenna Gibney. She's from Gipper. She's a customer success team leader. She's actually the one that held my hand virtually and got me going on how I can use Gipper and how I do use Gipper for the podcast. And she can help you in your program as well. So Jenna Gibney, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks so much, Jake. Super excited to be here.
Well, it's a busy time. I know Gipper's got a lot of promotions going on. Tell us a little bit for that person, maybe like me a year or so ago who didn't really know what Gipper was and how it could help. Give us a little bit of background of Gipper and why an athletic director should be interested.
Cool. For sure. So I know you have listeners who are fans of Gipper and maybe some who aren't so familiar. So like you said, give a quick intro here. So Gipper is a social media design platform that allows users, whether they're athletic administrators, coaches, teachers, SIDs, communications professionals, to create custom branded content for your school, your team's social media channels, but in seconds on any device and without needing any design experience. So all the awesome, like really high quality graphics that you see professional teams posting on social media or on their websites or on their scoreboards, we provide thousands of ready-made templates where you can just plug in your school's brand information like logos and colors and photos and whatever text, click save, and then you can in one click publish it out to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also schedule, which is awesome. I talk to thousands of athletic directors who say that they'll sit down for 20 minutes on a Monday and schedule out all of their team's game day posts or schedules for the entire week. So really allows you to simply create very high quality sports graphics.
Yeah, and I can certainly attest to that as a Gipper user. The schools that I was at, even I retired 2 years ago, and we had someone on our campus who did all of this. So I didn't have to deal with it at all. But there's many ADs out there, and I can remember points in my career where I was the only guy in the department. And there's so many different things that ADs get caught up with, and they don't think they have the time. They don't know how to get started. I certainly didn't know how to get started until you showed me. So what do you suggest for an athletic director or an administrator or coach that's listening that's in a similar situation? What can they do?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And something that Gipper is very proud of and very passionate about is just providing professional development and giving folks education on why social media is important, how to effectively communicate. And so some of the tips that I might talk about today will be applicable if you're a Gipper user. They'll also be applicable if you're not. So most importantly, I think understanding why social media is an effective communication tool for schools. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be posting every minute of every day, but that's where everyone's eyes are, right? That's where your students are. It's where parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, your community is on social media. It's also a free resource, and it's much easier to update than a website, for example. We've actually seen, we've done a little bit of research, we've seen people are moving away from wanting to go to websites. They're on social media all day anyway, and so if you can provide them the information where they're at, it's much more ingestible, like they can get the information more quickly. And then on top of that, if you're giving them really eye-catching graphics, that's going to stop the scroll. We talk about this all the time at Gipper. You want to stop the scroll with your content. So we've gotten a little bit lazy on social media, right? Like you can mindlessly scroll through Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, but until something actually catches your eye, you're not really maybe paying attention to it. And so that's kind of where Gipper comes in, because we allow you to create these really professional graphics. Additionally here, I think you want to also think about who you're reaching and what you're trying to say. And so before you can start thinking about what you want to post, you really want to think about who's your audience and what are your goals out of that. So just to give everyone a little bit of insight in terms of what platforms kind of hit the best with what demographics, right? Twitter is very much, that's where media is. So other schools, news outlets, maybe some students, college coaches, things like that. Facebook is a lot of parents, grandparents, community members, and then Instagram is a lot of students, young alumni. Instagram is also, I would say, the most diverse because you have the biggest age groups on Instagram. You do have young people. You also have parents and older generations as well. The cool thing about Gipper, like I said earlier, is you can post to all three. So you don't really even have to worry about managing those platforms. You don't even have to log into them. And there are other platforms that do that as well. But you can essentially in one click post to all three. And I wanted to ask you a question, Jake, actually, because I know that you said you had, when you were an AD, you had someone kind of helping you out, but in other cases, maybe you were a one-man show. Was social media on your radar as an athletic director?
When I came to the McClay School in Tallahassee as their athletic director in 2016, it prior to that, so I guess the previous 35 years or so, really hadn't been on my radar at all. And we had, our school as a private school, very successful school. We had a director of communications for the entire campus, and she asked me, what's your Twitter handle? And I said, huh? And so I created one, with her help, and did some posting of, upcoming games. If I was able to drag and drop a photo in there on a tweet, I felt pretty proud of myself. But as I said, I was very fortunate at the school to have someone else doing all those things for us. And then as I was transitioning into retirement, that's when I started the podcast and began to see some of the things that that other schools or other podcasts or other entities were using, and said, hey, I think I need to up my game a little bit.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's important to think of what your goals are as well. So if you as an athletic director, as a coach or administrator in a school, think about, okay, some of my goals might be, I want to celebrate my students more, right? I want to promote them. Maybe you want to get information out to parents. Like that's a very important thing to your district, is that you're providing real-time updates about things that are happening on campus. That kind of informs what you can do on social and informs what kind of information or what kind of posts you want to share. And so, for example, if one of your goals is celebrating students, right, you're going to want to post game day graphics with images of your students. You're going to want to post about awards that they're winning, right? If you have 10 players on the soccer team that win all conference or get like all region, you want to be creating content and posting about that. So you can kind of take this like top down approach where you think really like high level what you want to accomplish, and then start to like ideate off of that. Okay, celebrating students, great. We're going to do an athlete of the month or an athlete of the week. And I think that can help start to give it a little bit of a more narrow focus if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed about like, what do I even post, or how do I make this feasible? Think about what your bread and butter posts are going to be. I speak to athletic directors all the time who say, I do some things here and there, but I always do a game day for all of my home varsity sports. I always do a final score for all of my home varsity sports. And I always do an athlete of the week. And then once you get that, there's some monetization options there, working with local businesses to sponsor social media content. So there's a lot you can do, but if you're feeling like you're not really sure where to start, I think about what you're trying to accomplish, and then take some really small actionable steps in that direction.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, you talked about the kids are on Instagram, the parents are Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, is, getting that information out. I'll share with ADs now that I've been doing this for a while. It's a great way for you to take control of the narrative for your school and your department and your teams, and publish all these positive things that are going on, that the kids are doing, that the coaches are doing. But again, it all comes down to time. So I got another question.
Yeah.
What would you suggest an athletic director, let's say it's that person that's flying solo, what can they do to help them accomplish these social media goals of promoting their teams and kids?
Yeah, for sure. So I think there are certain things like using platforms like Gipper that provide you templates so you can create graphics really quickly. But I also think leaning on your resources, like maybe you have a student that's a great photographer that wants to be involved. Have that student take photos at games. Maybe you have a couple coaches that are very tech savvy, right? You can lean on your resources and your staff and your people to really help you create content. We know even the most well-resourced Division I, Power 5 conferences are still not able to create like all of the content that they need to equitably across like all of their 20 plus varsity sports. Like we hear that from these huge, really well-resourced Division I athletic programs. And so think about what your goals are and lean on your staff, coaches, students, parents, alumni. We also just released a new tool called content requests within Gipper that allows you to source user generated media. So this like raw, unproduced like video or photos. We see at the very highest levels. The New England Patriots do this really well if you follow them on social. But really high level, all it's going to do is allow you to ask your community to give you photos and videos that they're already taking, and be able to use that within your content. It's also very highly engaging. People want to know who your students are. They want to know what's going on campus. They want to know your coaches more than just kind of what's going on the field. We also have a share tool where you can share saved design. So if you're an athletic director and you're kind of the only one running things, but maybe you have a few coaches, like I said, that are excited about social media or tech savvy, you can be the content creator. Like you can set up a couple game days, a couple score updates, and then just share those saved designs with them. And then they can plug in a score right from the field. So they don't even have to worry about, creating this graphic from scratch. You've already done it for them. And now you can send them off to their games, and on the bus ride home, they can update the score graphic on their phone right from the bus and post it out. So again, you don't have to feel like you have to do this on your own. Use templates so that you can plug information into it on the fly, and lean on other folks within your community to help you out.
Okay. Again, I use in my little message when I'm promoting Gipper, I tell our listeners, it's so easy, even I can do it. And I mean that. It is incredibly easy, and it works. Let's say, you have reached that cranky old or young AD that's listening, and they've decided, hey, I want to get involved. I want to start using Gipper. What are some other suggestions or resources that you can share for somebody who wants to, really jump in and improve their social media brand presence?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first and foremost, Gipper feels very, like I said, very passionate about education and professional development. We also take a consultative approach. So if you do ever, purchase a subscription with Gipper, you get a dedicated customer champion. So the team that I manage, you'll get one of us to be kind of like your right-hand man to take you through things and make sure that you're set up for success. But also there are some other things beyond using the platform that I think are helpful. So one of them would be a content calendar. And we actually, if you go to our website, we did a recent webinar series, a 3-part series, and created this content calendar, editable, that you can update. And so what a content calendar is really just a way of organizing what you might want to post. So if you think about like old school desk calendar, right? And you throw on all of your events. So you're going to do game day posts for every event, every home event, right? And you throw that on the calendar for the month. And then maybe you want to do this athlete of the week or athlete of the month, right? You write that in on Wednesdays or the second Wednesday of the month. And so you start to fill out this calendar with things that you're going to post about. And it's actually going to save you time in the long run. It might take 10 minutes up front, but in the long run, it's going to save you so much time, because when you're in the thick of the season and the year, you're not having to plan. You're not having to think about what you're posting. You're just looking down at your calendar, your content calendar. Okay, today's Monday, I'm posting a weekly schedule. Today's Wednesday, I'm posting an athlete of the week. Those are things that we talk about in those kinds of like consultative training sessions. Another thing that folks can do is take team photos or host a media day. It doesn't have to be this wide scale production, but if you have photos that you can pull from throughout the year, that's going to really help you, so you don't have to rely on a photographer or things like that. When I was coaching, I coached women's soccer at Colgate for 4 years prior to Gipper. Senior night was the best night and also the worst night for me, because I had to create these really cool like gifts for the seniors. And if there was a couple of players that maybe didn't play quite as much, it was heartbreaking that I didn't have enough photos of them or like athletic looking photos of them to be able to give them and their parents. And so lean on taking photos ahead of time so that you don't have to like use those in-game action shots. So you can highlight everyone equitably. That's huge, because a player that maybe plays half as much as your star player still deserves that level of promotion and the excitement and the gratitude. So that would be my pro tip there, is anytime you can take like team photos ahead of a season or some media day type things, I would do that. And then lastly, lean into scheduling your posts. Right? You can, with Gipper or other platforms, you can schedule posts ahead of time. And this is kind of where the content calendar comes into play too. So on a Monday morning, if you look at your content calendar and you see, okay, I'm going to post an athlete of the week and game days for all of my home events, you can do that on Monday at whatever time you have, 10 or 20 minutes to do it. We know athletic administrators and folks in schools and within teams, you're having to wear a lot of hats, and a lot of things just pop up in your day that need to be taken care of, like things you have to put out fires. And so this is one thing you can actually plan for and schedule for. It doesn't have to necessarily be done in real time all the time. Of course, if you're doing a score update or things like that, that are a little bit more timely, they do. But a game day or a weekly calendar, those things can be done way ahead of time, and you're set. It's kind of like I joke with people, it's kind of like a crock pot. Like you can just set it and forget it.
Again, and it comes back to organization, which any
Exactly.
athletic director knows the importance of that. Jenna, this has just been so cool. And I want to remind our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about Gipper and a path to improving your social media presence, you can access a specific educational AD podcast site. Go to gipper.com/partner/AD pod. I'll say that again, gipper.com/partner/AD pod. And you can schedule a demonstration and take advantage of a sponsor discount, which I think Jen is going to share with you right now.
Yep. So we have offering a 10% discount for all of your listeners, Jake. And the promo code for that is ADPOD10. So ADPOD10, numeric 10, 10. But yeah, 10% off. We're super excited about speaking to, some of your listeners. I know you have a big following, and anything we can do, the awesome part of my job is getting to speak with athletic administrators and coaches and hearing how doing these little things has transformed their community and how excited students are about it, and kind of like the impact that it's having on their campuses. Like, that is so fulfilling. And we all played, most of us at Gipper played sports, high school level, college level, and beyond. And so we know like just how important it is, and what an impact coaches and athletic administrators and teachers have on people's lives. And so we're just so excited to be part of the community and give back and help out whenever we can.
Well, and again, we certainly appreciate it. We started this particular podcast to give athletic directors a voice and share their story, and also offer tips, help to other ADs. And there's no question that, Gipper can do that very same thing. You certainly know John Scromolo, one of our Florida ADs, member of the FIAAA board. He's the one that kind of brought Gipper to the FIAAA's attention. And
Yep.
That's all we're trying to do is help athletic directors do the very best job they can of servicing their kids and their coaches. And Gipper can certainly do that. Let's give that website out one more time. It's Gipper.com/partner/AD pod. And the discount code, 10% discount, is AD pod, ADPOD, and then the number 10, get 10% discount off of Gipper. Jenna, have I forgotten anything?
Nope. You're good, Jake. I really appreciate being here, and we're proud sponsors of the podcast. So it's been really cool being able to chat with you about Gipper and about just some social media best practices.
Well, again, we appreciate all that you do for athletic directors across the country. For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Give Gipper a call. Check out that website, and we'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast. Of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors, including Gipper. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. They sponsor the AD Toolbox segment. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to the folks at Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. Go to hometownticketing.com and find out how they can help you start selling digital tickets for athletic events and performing arts events and even graduation. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As an athletic director, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com and find out how they can help your coaches use video and analytics to help their teams play better. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a digital console to use as a record board for all of your sports, and as a Hall of Fame, go to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Shoot them an email at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo to see their indoor scoring tables and video boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms. If you're not using Final Forms, you're really missing out. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like reminders for policies and physicals and all the forms that go with athletics. It can also help your coaches with attendance, communication, and even their own certification management. And for athletic directors, can help with eligibility and rosters and all the forms that come across your desk. For more information, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. And we want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Our coaches use Snap Mobile for fundraising, and it was just fantastic. And it'll work for you too. Snap Mobile is a no upfront cost, no tracking. You get the data sent directly to you platform that actually works. Snapraise.com has raised almost $500 million, that's billion with a B, dollars for schools, and they can do the same thing for you. Go to snapraise.com and find out how their better fundraising platform can work for you. Once again, we appreciate you listening to the Educational AD Podcast. I want to thank Jenna Gibney from Gipper for sharing today. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.